Hey everybody, Michael LaFido. Welcome to this week's live stream. Typically we call it Luxury Fridays. We're doing it on Thursday this week. We are coming to you and we're going to be sharing kind of a state of the luxury mid-year report, as well as just real estate in general mid-year report. We have people watching this live stream that are not real estate agents. They're not real estate brokers, team leaders. They're just connected to us on social media, and you too can ask questions real estate related. Again, all you need to do is type in your questions in the comment section, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Type in your comments and we'll be able to read them. Or if you'd like to come on screen and ask a question, feel free to do that as well. The way you can do that is copy and paste or click on the link that I'm putting in the comment section right now. You don't need to download any software. This platform will work whether it be Android or Apple. So we'd like to answer any questions you have. We call that Ask Me Anything. This is our mid-year report. Hard to believe tomorrow will be July 1st, the start of the third quarter. So we're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about the luxury real estate market and how inflation and interest rates have affected it so far. We're also going to discuss goals, whether it be financial goals, family goals, spiritual goals, health goals. We'll even talk about business goals today. We'll share with you some tips and some tricks that we've learned throughout the years through coaching programs and other successful individuals. We'd love to hear from you. Again, typically we do a live stream every Friday. We call it Luxury Fridays, but this is a special edition because we wanted to come to you at the end of the second quarter before the mid-year. So tomorrow is July 1st. I am very patriotic and looking forward to the 4th of July weekend and fireworks. And I have a 1/5 scale Civil War cannon that we light off. We lit it off last night at a friend's house. So with that being said, let's get into the real estate market report right now. Right now we are seeing, not just in Chicagoland, I'm a licensed agent here in the state of Illinois, but my consulting company helps agents outside of Illinois, within the United States and outside of the United States. And we are still seeing overall, it's a strong market. Real estate is about supply and demand. I'm going to have an image. I'm going to pull up an image here in a minute that I want to share with you about supply and demand, months of inventory. And there we go. This is an image that, that's not the one I wanted, so give me 1 second. This is going to be something that it's really important as far as month supply and inventory and what is going out there. But the other thing I want to share with you is interest rates. There's a lot of buzz about interest rates. And interest rates they've come down over the last few weeks, and I'm sharing with you historic over the last 5 decades where interest rates have been and where they are. So historically speaking, rates are still very strong right now. They're below what they've been for 4 out of the last 5 decade averages. If you see there from the 1980s, the average interest rate was 12.7%. So we are still well below that, of course, and we are well below the even the 70s, as well as the 1990s. 1990s being a strong decade, economically started out slow, but overall was 8.12%. So supply and demand is a big part of real estate. Interest rates, there's a lot of downward pressure as well. Um, but inventory is key. And right now, there's still a shortage of good inventory. However, we do see more inventory coming on. Um, we do see more inventory coming on the market uh, as we uh, enter the summer months, So I wanted to share with you a little bit about rates and inventory, whether it be the day after Thanksgiving, which we call that Black Friday, when Best Buy and some of these outlet stores put a limited number of whatever it is called flat screen TVs. Limited number drives up demand. Well, same thing, limited number in real estate. And so there's really three types of markets in real estate. Buyer's market. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. There's three types of markets. And again, if you guys have questions, at all, please type them in. And oh, thanks. We got Mark watching from Naples, Florida. Thanks, Mark. You were on the other day as well. I appreciate your support. So real estate, there's really three types of markets. You have a buyer's market in real estate, which some markets right now are making the shift from a seller's market to a balanced market to a buyer's market. So we're going to define each of those markets today, just to keep it really simple. And again, we have a buyer's market, balanced market, and a seller's market. Let's talk with the seller's market. That, for the most part, over the last 2 years in many markets, it's been what we call a seller's market. A seller's market is defined when there's 4 months or less of inventory. So let's just talk about ultra luxury right now. I define an ultra luxury home as a home that is 10 times the average sale price for that given market. So DuPage County, when I pulled data most recently, the average sale price for the county was $495,000. So ultra luxury would be called 4.95 million, called 5 million and above. So $5 million and above price point in Chicagoland, for example, is still what we consider a buyer's market. That's a buyer's market. There's 7 or more months of inventory is how you define a buyer's market, okay? So a buyer's market is when there's a ton of inventory and stuff, the days on the market are long and stuff is really stagnant. Real estate is stagnant. There's not a lot of movement. In that ultra price point, it's considered a buyer's market in my market, which is a Chicagoland market. So that's a extreme example of buyer's market. I sold a home a few years back in a town called Barrington Hills, Illinois. And the owner fired his mom, who was the agent, and we ended up getting the property sold. But at the time, there was over a year and a half of inventory above $2 million, over a year and a half. So in that case, I told the seller, hey, we're going to position the home through amazing photos and description and staging. And we know what today's buyers are looking for based on market research. We're going to really emphasize that in our marketing efforts. But even with all those strategies and the additional marketing, it could take some time because the average home is on the market for at least a year and a half in your price point. So again, it's really important that an agent manages the seller's expectations. Last thing you ever want to do in anything is overpromise and underdeliver. So setting the expectations that it could be a while. My thoughts are in these upper price points that something's going to either sell right away in the first 30 to 60, 90 days, or it could take a year plus. I have one listing that's been on for over 6 years. Okay, 6 years. So again, supply and demand is really important, but is it a buyer's market, which is defined as 7 months or more is what we define a buyer's market. Okay. That's considered a buyer's market. A balanced or neutral market is what we would consider a balanced market would be what we consider a 5 or 6 months of inventory is what we call a neutral or balanced market. That's a healthy market. Again, by the way, in a buyer's market, home prices tend to depreciate. They go down. In a balanced market, prices stay steady. And then in a seller's market, which we've been in the past few years overall, in a seller's market, homes tend to appreciate. I was talking to the 2023 incoming president. She's going to be on my podcast, episode 198. And yesterday she's from Austin, and she was talking about the Austin market was on fire. Homes were appreciating at 20% or more in the Austin market, and now things are cooling off a little bit. And so that's not a bad thing in many markets, because now more buyers, even if rates go up, more buyers have the ability to pay something more fair and reasonable than perhaps out of control, if you will. So that is something I wanted to go over today, is supply and demand, as well as buyer's market, 7 or more months of inventory. A balanced or neutral market is 5 or 6 months, and a seller's market is when there's 4 months or less. Now, some people laugh when they hear 4 months or less, because some markets had 4 minutes or less of inventory. So real estate is hyper local. It's really about that. I believe that there's 4 price points in every market. And so the entry level home and the average price property could be in a seller's market, could be multiple offers. But as you go up in price, it could be a balanced, or it could be a buyer's market. So it's really hyper local. You can't say overall the market is this. It should be hyper local, and it should be based on price point, but I'm trying to keep things really simple. And you're exactly right, Mark. Hyper local, you're giving an example of the average list price in one market there in Naples, Florida. We have clients in Naples and West Palm Beach, and we have a lot of Chicagoans moving and buying up all across the country. Again, type in your questions if you're watching live on any of the live streams, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, any of those platforms. Type it in. Mark, thank you for typing those in. And if you want to be brought on camera, just click on that link that you see in the comment section, streamyard.com/ all those miscellaneous letters and numbers. You click that on, and we'll bring you on camera. So that's number one I want to talk about, is defining a buyer's market versus a seller's market versus a balanced market. So that's tip number one in this mid-year report. Tip number two, for those of you that are selling and you're perhaps packing your own boxes, I'd recommend you hire a mover. But if you pack your own boxes, a couple things. Remember, you get the right size box. You want to put the heavy items at the bottom. And number three, besides right box and the heavy items on the bottom, number three is label your boxes. Whether you hire a moving company or you pack your own boxes, label them, chart them out, where they're going in the house and what are the contents in the box. It will save you a lot of headaches. So that's my second tip for today before we go into the market update overall. And then my third tip of the day is keep in mind the 5 senses when you go to sell. Keep in mind the 5 senses when you go to sell. Vision. In other words, when you walk in a home, first impression. That's why staged homes sell so much faster than homes that aren't staged. That's number one sense. Number two is smell. I'm selling a house right now, won't name the town, and those owners, we had some negative feedback. Somebody said one feedback said it smelled like marijuana on one of our listings. And another listing, they said it smelled like ethnic food. Now, when you cook, you probably aren't as sensitive to I'm Italian. I'm not maybe as sensitive to the Italian ethnic food if we cook it in our house. Or we have 2 dogs. I am sensitive that maybe others, if they come over, smell our 2 dogs, even though we try to keep the house clean, and I think we do. We'll throw a candle on, but sometimes a candle can't camouflage over a smell if the house isn't maintained, if it's not cleaned, etc. So keep in mind sights, or we call that vision, smell, touch, taste, and the 5th is what you hear. Okay, is there a loud, obnoxious noise? Does neighbors have music going? Is there a sump pump when it kicks on? It's really loud. So keep in mind the 5 senses when you go to sell. And better yet, those 5 senses, you might not see them. For example, when I wrote my book, I'm not a natural writer. I just visited my alma mater, Northern Michigan University, last weekend for a golf outing. I'll never forget. I graduated. I was an honors mortarboard National Honor Society I made, but I wasn't gifted. I had to work hard for everything. And I'll never forget, as an educator, we had to write a 5-paragraph essay as part of graduating from college in the education department. I was a health and physical education major. For those of you that don't know, I was a teacher from 1998 to 2010 and a part-time real estate agent from 2000 to 2010. And we were very successful. Matter of fact, we were the second leading producer for Realty Executives. Realty Executives is a national franchise. They're very successful. I believe Remax sells more homes per agent, and Realty Executives is number 2. I was the second leading producer for the entire Midwest for Realty Executives as a part-time agent, full-time teacher. And I share that story from the standpoint of a couple things. As an educator, I failed my exam at Northern Michigan, my written exam, the 5-paragraph essay. I'm talking about. Remember the introduction, then your 3 body paragraphs, and then paragraph 5 is your conclusion. I had to hire a tutor. Well, when we wrote our book, we've written a lot of books, but our most popular is Luxury Listing Specials. I had multiple people proofread it because I could read my version, the first reiteration, and not spot spelling errors or grammatical errors. And so I need to get other fresh set of eyes to look at it to see if they could poke holes and improve, or if I had some grammatical errors or misspells. Same thing with you. If you're going to sell, keep in mind the 5 senses, but you might not smell your dog. You might not see something that's out of place because that's the way you live. And so you should get somebody that you like and you trust that can be brutally honest with you. That girlfriend, that buddy that says you have something stuck in your tooth, or that person that calls you out on things. You want somebody that's brutally honest, because if you're going to get top dollar for your home, the 5 senses are key. Sight, what they hear, what they taste, what they smell, and what they touch. Keep in mind all of that. First impressions are key. All right. So those are my 3 tips for today. And now we're going to get into the state of the luxury real estate market. Overall, the real estate market over the past 6 months, still strong overall compared to pre-pandemic. In most markets, it's still better, but it's not as strong as it was at the peak during the last 2 years. And why is that? Well, interest rates are part. But again, I just shared with you an amazing slide, which rates are still way better today than they have historically been 4 out of the last 5 decade averages. Okay. In the 1970s, the average rate was just under 9, 8.86. The 80s were terrible interest rates. The 90s got a little bit better. 2000s were really strong. And of course, 2010 to 2020 rates were the best over that decade than any decade before. We're hovering just around 6% right now. So I just wanted to reiterate those points with you. So it's still overall a strong market. When I'm speaking in broad terms. Okay. Mark's watching from Florida. That market's cooled down a little bit, but in some markets there in Florida, it's still impossible to find a property, and they sell without even a showing. People are paying it cash, sight unseen, skipping inspection and waiving the appraisal, etc. But we are seeing a slight shift, a slight cooling. And when the market cools, as a seller, you can't cut the corners. You got one time to make a first impression. Literally, we are going to market with a home, and I want to pull this home off right here, Oldfield. Let me see here. I'm putting this house on the market tomorrow. They had given me a call because they saw that we sold a big-time Chicago Bears home, and so they contacted us because they did some research and contacted a bunch of agents. and I just had this home staged, and I saw it yesterday. Maybe some of you on the live stream saw it yesterday. I'm going to share with you this right here. We just had this home staged, and these are previous photos. These are not my photos. This is the previous agent, but I want to share with you. First impressions are really important. If you're watching this and you're a friend of mine, you're in the market to buy or sell a home, I want to share with you first impressions. So I know I don't think I can make this any larger. Uh, so right when you walk in, actually I can. Let me see here. It's a little bit bigger. Right when you walk in this home, there you are. First impression. So area rugs, the furniture, the window treatments are really important. And this is looking back. These are, of course, the before pictures, if you will. Uh, and so this took a month and a half of prep time, from painting to staging to touch-ups. So you have one time to make a first impression. I would have liked to put their home on the market in May. We're going to be putting it on tomorrow, July 1st, at the filming of this. I would have liked to put it on 6 weeks ago, but you have one time to make a first impression. They would have left, in my opinion, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table had we rushed to market, because you only have one time to make a first impression. So I'm going to be sharing kind of the afters of that on a future podcast, excuse me, on a future Luxury Fridays. We don't have, yes, Mark, this was the one. Great. You must have watched yesterday. This is the one that was previously on the market with other agents. Yes, it was on with 2 other agents, Mark. If you recall, I have a saying, you want to be the firstborn, the second wife, and the third real estate agent if you focus on the upper price points or canceled and expired or for sale by owners, because the first agent makes some suggestions, they don't want to hear it. The second agent made some suggestions, they listen to some of them. The third, they say, fine, do what you need to do. And unfortunately, that's after they've done price change after price change after price change. Recently, my wife and I bought a house. We were in the same house for 16 years. We moved about a year and a half ago. I personally think we got that home at probably 30 to 40% below market value, because they were about to go on with their third agent, and they'd finally done some of the neutralization and some of the things. If they had done the first time on the market, they would have got their price, in my opinion. So that's really important. First impressions are important in a changing market, in a cooling market. So overall, the state of luxury is healthy. However, it is shifting to a cooling market, from a seller's market to a balanced and neutral market. I think you're going to see in some of these resort markets and some of the secondary housing. In other words, in Chicago, many people go to Michigan or they go to Lake Geneva for their weekend houses, for their second houses. I think you're going to see those home prices come down a little bit. I think you're going to see home prices in some of these ultra multiple offer markets, i.e. Austin and some of these, Nashville, Brentwood, Tennessee, and some of these markets. I think you're going to see things cool a little bit. We'd be interested to hear your feedback on that as well. Again, all things real estate, all things luxury, Michael LaFido. Type in your questions in the comment section, and we'll be sure to answer them. We are getting the month of July. We got some trainings. I'm going to be out in California. We're doing a training out at Brent Gove's event out in Granite Bay Country Club outside of Sacramento on the 21st of June. We're really excited about that. 21st of July. We're really excited about that. And August 3rd, I'm going to be presenting at NAREB's annual conference. NAREB, we're so excited about that. NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. I want to share with you on our website something that you can always do to figure out, where am I presenting next. We have 4 proposed luxury designation events coming up. We have not finalized those yet, but I want to share with you where we are presenting next. And before we do that, again, you can always go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, luxurylistingspecialist.com, and I will type that into the comments. And if you go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, You can find out more about our Lux designation, and you can also find out where we're presenting next, luxurylistingspecialist.com. You click on the upcoming events tab, and we'll be adding more and more. There's our event for Brent Gove, and there's our NAREB event on August 3rd. We have a Facebook user says Nashville is a buyer's market above 4 million and a strong market below under 4. And that might be the case. Thank you for the comment there. I would probably tell you that, not knowing the data in Nashville, it probably, let's just use 4 million above it is buyer's market. I'd probably tell you it's a strong seller's market at some price point, not at 4. It's probably less. It's probably a balanced or neutral market. Call it, for the sake of this, 2.5 to 4, and then a strong seller market, 2.5 in this example. There's usually not 2 markets. There's usually 3 in most markets. A buyer's market, a seller's market, and a balanced market. So there's definitely probably a balanced market somewhere there in Nashville, but I appreciate it. I'm going to be heading to Nashville here in less than a week with my family. All right, Mark, thanks for typing that in, Mark. Would you like me to share it with this, Mark? I thank you for typing that in. Let me know what you let me know what you'd like to there. It's a very long comment, Mark. I appreciate that. I don't want to inundate the audience. If you want me to share it, just type that in. But I appreciate you typing that in the comment sections. And I'm going to stop sharing this particular screen with you in regards to upcoming events. Some real good interaction today. I appreciate it. This live stream, like all my live streams, go much better when we have live questions from the audience or comments. Again, you can ask me anything. I call that AMA. You can type in your questions, whether you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or not Instagram, but we usually don't stream it live on Instagram because this platform doesn't work with Instagram. So really good feedback. I appreciate everybody that is sharing those comments. All right. So that was some things that I wanted to cover there. And then let's talk about goal setting. Let's talk about mid-year goals. Let's see where you're at with your goals. Again, there's various types of goals out there, right? Business related, financially related, spiritually, health-wise. I was just last night with some friends, and a good friend of mine lost 35 pounds. That could be a goal of yours, is to lose 35 pounds in tomorrow's mid-year, and you've lost 17 and a half. Well, that's perfectly on pace. Well, maybe you've only lost 10 and you're behind. Or maybe you lost 25 and you're ahead. That's an example of a health-based. Could be family, could be marital goals, date nights, could be whatever it might be with you and your significant other. Goals are important. You need to review them. I like posting them. I like visual reminders, but it is important that you have goals. It's important that you share your goals with others from an accountability standpoint. Accountability is never a bad thing by sharing your goals. So I wanted to share that with you. So goal setting. Not sure how you are doing with your goals. In real estate, if you want to sell 20 homes this year and you're sitting at 7 or 8 or 9, are you behind? Well, you might be behind, but maybe you have a bunch pending under contract. Maybe you're ahead of your goals. But don't buy in to the doom and gloom. Okay? Turn off the news. The news is negative. Okay? Some people believe we have a state-run media. In other words, it's propaganda. They're pushing an agenda. It's not fair and balanced. Okay? And so I'm here to tell you that the news usually isn't positive, and it's usually not unifying. They want to label, and they typically want to divide. And so garbage in, I think garbage stays. So my recommendation is with the news, with negative Nick, negative Nancy, somebody in your family, somebody, on social media, unfollow them, mute them, Don't let them get in your headspace. Okay, there's former presidents, current presidents that are in people's headspace. Don't allow that. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. And there's a lot of frustrated people out there right now. I get it. But what you focus on expands. So focus on positive. Focus on what you're thankful for. And that definitely will help. Okay. So I wanted to cover that with you. Any other questions? Please type them in. Goal setting is really important. What you focus on, your mindset, your time, what you do with your time, what you do with your energy is really important. You know, I have this coffee mug that I got from my old brokerage. It's something that I still like. It's golden opportunity, right? If you have an opportunity, we have a golden opportunity. We live in, I believe, the best country in the world, so much so that our haters won't leave. People that are negative on the flag, they're negative on this country. They have options. They could move back somewhere. They could move somewhere else, but they choose not to, because even though we're not perfect and we have a long way to go, it's by far the best country. And that's why I love the 4th of July and I love our American flag. I love the patriots that have fought for us. I love our first responders and our fire and our police. Yeah, there's some bad apples out there. But what you focus on, do you focus on the negative bad apples, or do you focus on those that are there to protect us and keep us safe? There's some really bad politicians out there. What do you focus on? Okay. So what you focus on expands, and that's going to be a direct correlation whether you can reach your goals consistently or you fall short of the mark that you're going for. Is your time and what you focus on. You got to know what your time is worth. You got to say no to more opportunities and yes to others. Okay, you can't say yes to everything. Okay, you got to learn to say no to opportunities. Family, health, spiritual, financial, business, those can be all some goals of yours. And I'd love to hear if you have a goal, you want to share it, want to come on screen, feel free to do just that. So goals mid-year, and that is something that jumbo rates. Okay, we got a question here from Mark Benson. Jumbo rates for the luxury market. Jumbo rates are, they've definitely have spiked. They're definitely higher. Rates are higher today than they were a few months back. Does that affect real estate? It absolutely does. I had 2 luxury buyers that referenced rates as to why they're pausing their search. I also had an entry level $350,000 buyer that said they're pausing their search because of rates. So that's where, for me, I like to help the consumer focus on what their needs are. They still need to find a place. Appreciation. Okay, appreciation. Over the last 5, I believe it is, maybe it was last 4 recessions, homes appreciated. The only time during a recession that homes depreciated recently was the 2008 bubble that we hit. Okay. All right. Good. Any questions? Any questions? Again, you are tuning in live. My name is Michael LaFido. Don't forget, you'll see it come across the screen right now. But don't forget Luxury Fridays. Luxury Fridays typically are each Friday. This week we are doing our live stream today because it's the end of the second quarter. It's the midterm of the year. It's the midpoint of the year. And we'll be doing a little travel next week. So not sure if we're going to be at the same time. Typically noon. We're typically at noon on Luxury Fridays. We might do it at a different time next week based on travel. All right, if you guys have any questions, please type them in. What are your questions? Please type them in. And don't forget, we have a bunch of free resources if you go to joinluckgroup.com, joinluckgroup.com. I'm your host, Michael LaFido. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to look for some comments If we don't have any comments, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap things up here in a few minutes. But I just wanted to reiterate with you a couple things. Number one, life is what drives real estate. Life is what drives real estate. Somebody's getting married. Unfortunately, somebody's getting divorced. Somebody's relocating. Maybe you saw on Facebook somebody's expecting. Maybe somebody's downsizing. I was just at a $4.75 million home today in a town called Hinsdale, Illinois. And he lost his wife a month ago. So he's going to be selling. Life is what drives real estate. It's not who the president is. It's not what you're paying at the pump. It's not interest rates. Those are definitely factors that can lead to a stronger market, or they can be some downward pressures that lead to a slower market. But life is what drives real estate. All right. Very good. My name is Michael LaFido, and if we don't have any questions, then what I'm going to do is I'll sign off for this week, and you guys can always shoot me a note, shoot me an email. I'm going to share with you my email. It's real simple. It's just Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com. Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com. That is my email. I put it in the comments section. It's on the screen. Michael at marketingluxurygroup.com. Shoot me an email if you're watching a replay of this. If you know of somebody that could benefit from our trainings, please let them know. If you have somebody that you think would be a great guest on our podcast, let us know. We just released our 196th episode today, episode 196. I had a gentleman on, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's just, you can go to luxurylistingpodcast.com, luxurylistingpodcast.com, and I literally had a gentleman on out of Miami, and this guy literally, I'm not suggesting you do this, but this gentleman literally differentiates himself. He's got this tiger helmet for back of like a mascot head he puts on. If you guys go to luxurylistingpodcast.com, you can listen to my interview with Nick, and his nickname is Tiger, Nick Tiger Quay. If you go to luxurylistingpodcast.com, luxurylistingpodcast.com, that's episode 196. We just interviewed episode 198, which will be released in 2 weeks. And episode 200, we have some invites out there. I'm trying to get some big name $1 million agent on. If you guys have any connections, I'd be grateful. Nick was our 196. We have our 198th, and we're coming up on episode 200. We're really excited about that. Any questions on anything? My name is Michael LaFido. You guys have been a great audience. I just want to reiterate, we have some great resources out there for you. If you go to joinluxgroup.com, join Lux Group, you can see some links for our podcast. You can see some links for some other free resources. We're all about raising the bar in real estate, whether you be an individual agent, you be a team leader, a broker owner, whether you're with a big franchise or you're with an independent. We will work with you, and we've helped agents from all walks of life. My name is Michael LaFido. Unless we have another comment or question, I just want to thank you guys for your time. Until next time, this has been another live stream. Again, my name is Michael LaFido, and I appreciate your guys' time. Make it a great day, and remember to build others up and be safe this 4th of July weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye, everybody.